Okay, week 3. So obviously our goal, the goal of the entire course is to build an HTTP server in Node, obviously in Node, yeah. And so the first 2 weeks, in your case, first 3 weeks, is actually to get familiar with Node and the environment and what we can use, like promises, the difference between promises, a callback, object-oriented programming, all those things that we're going to use now. That was kind of like foundation of Node. Think about it like foundation of Node. Now it's going to be like HTTP server in Node. So think about the course like split it in 2 bits. The first one and the second one. So before we jump in, write the HTTP server in Node, I want to talk about network. And I'm entitled to talk about network because I'm a telecommunication engineer. So who better than me can talk about network, right? Good. So you're in good hands when it's about networks. So what is a network? Let's talk about network, right? So a network is a system of computers that are joined together so they can communicate by exchanging information and sharing resources. So that's kind of a definition of a network. So it's a set of computers that communicate and exchange information together. This is really the like high level definition of a network. And why we want to do that? Like any of you have a good idea why we want to do that? You should definitely know why we want.
Simple. It's like the internet.
Yes.
For
communication, right?
sharing the information.
Yes. So my question is, let's talk about some example of a network.
Telephone, mobile phone.
Yeah, mobile phone. Yeah. So that's a really complex network, right? Because that's a bit of wireless.
Yeah.
So cell phone, right, goes a bit of wireless, then goes back to cable.
Yeah.
Different cables, right? Because then it goes few miles, goes on a copper cable, then goes on an optical network, then back to copper, then back to the cell, then goes wireless, right? Yeah, LAN, local area network is another network. It's you use Ethernet as a protocol. But also there are like smaller networks.
Satellites.
Satellite is a network, but also like there are smaller networks.
GPS. GPS is a kind of network as well.
We are a network.
Yeah, but there's like, what about the communication between your Bluetooth, your Bluetooth headset and your phone?
Yeah.
That's a very, very small network, right?
Yeah.
With only 2 computers, right? One will be your phone. Yeah. When we talk computer, we talk something that has a CPU in there, right? The old school of definition of computer doesn't exist any longer. Like computer now it's like everything. Like even your dishwasher has enough computer power that can be called a computer. So your phone and your headset is actually a network.
Yeah.
And use the Bluetooth stack, which consists of different layers of protocols and definition of the band and everything, right? Your Wi-Fi is also like, a simple Wi-Fi is also actually a network, right? Perfect. So we are on board. We know what is a network and why we need a network, right? Okay, that's good. So, and now let's go back to web, right? So if we go now, we narrow down all the different kind of networks, then we narrow down internet. You said internet in the beginning. So one use of a network would be your client. Who is your client? Your browser.
Yeah.
Chrome. Chrome is your client. That will contact another computer that is a server, that is away, right? Somewhere in internet, in this network that you were talking about. So that will be our case. We are focused on this case. We are focused on have a client, which could be the browser on your phone, on your computer, whatever. So an application, that's kind of application layer. The browser runs on top of your operative system, so it's an application. They will talk with another application that you're gonna build. This application will run on the server, which will be an HTTP server. So we are gonna build the HTTP server.
Sorry, can you explain
Sure.
a little bit more about HTTP?
We didn't talk about HTTP. We're going to talk about HTTP. We're going to talk about HTTP. I did ask this question before. So the HTTP is, I'm going to read this. This is kind of the definition that I stole from internet, and then I give you my source on top. So the Hypertext Transfer Protocol is an application protocol for distributed, collaborative, and hypermedia information systems. So remember, HTTP is an application protocol. So it can run on different kind of transport protocols. That could be TCP, UDP, and so on so forth. So the HTTP is an application protocol. We're going to talk about the layers of a protocol, but this is an application protocol, so on the top of the stack. So HTTP is the foundation of data communication for the World Wide Web. Hypertext is a structured text that uses logical links between nodes containing text. Watch for this last sentence. Again, hypertext is a structured text that uses logical links between nodes containing text. What is talking about? There are different hypertexts, structured text, blah, 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 blah. But we know one. HTML.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that a structured text?
Yeah.
You can open a TXT file, right? And start to type HTML. That would be a structured text. Why is a structured text? Because it's a tree, right?
Yeah.
Things are in a specific location and have a specific relation with their parents. You have childs inside childs inside child. Yeah.
Manipulation.
Yeah. So when he's talking about hypertext, is a structured text that uses logical links. He's talking about many different protocols, or actually many different languages. But in our case, we need to think about HTML because we're going to use HTML. But XML could be also valid. JSON could be also valid. So he's talking about structured text in general because he said there are many different structured texts. Very complex one, HTML, which is talking about hypermedia, you see? And hypermedia information system. Why hypermedia? Because there are different medias, right? Text, images, video, right? So HTML is actually very complex, one of the most powerful ones. And there are the most simple ones, XML, JSON. Doesn't have images, doesn't have any of that. It just has text. And what is the hyperlinks is talking about? The links between the different pages, the URI. Good. And what is a protocol? What is the definition of protocol? A very simple definition of protocol. Yes, exactly. Protocol is a set of rules, and mechanisms.
Like in the army.
Yes. When they say you need to go from A to B, you in your head there are some rules for go to A to B. If there's water, maybe you need to swim in a particular way. That's a rule. That's a mechanism that you need to apply when you perform an action. So protocols is a set of rules and mechanisms to perform an action. And those protocols, any kind of protocols, IP, Internet Protocol, TCP, it's another protocol, HTTP. There are big companies, they will sit together and they will define the protocol. What's called like a IEEE. Probably heard about those guys, pretty sure. So they are on top of organized meetings between huge companies. Think about the largest in the field. It's a Google, Facebook, Cisco. They sit all together for years and they write a specification for the protocol so that everybody agrees on that in a kind of a democratic fashion. And this is one organization that does that. And then there is also this one. So they take care of the standards, to the protocols and all the rules and the mechanism, so the web stays democratic and precise. Everything is super well defined. And then there are other organizations, W3C, right? Maybe you know this one, World Wide Web Consortium, which is more for the web. So they will define what's a video on the web, how should be format, and so on and so forth. And you can actually find specification about HTML, like a massive document that explains everything about HTML. And the documents that you find in those big organizations are very, very, very technical. They are made for other technical people. So sometimes are a bit cryptic. The way they write stuff, it's you need a bit of understanding what actually they want to say, and they are very long. They are very, very long. And in some documents, they are not allowed to use images because this has to be accessible for everyone, even people that don't have a high-speed internet. So there are like 300 pages, and there's not even one image between two computers. Like everything is by words or ASCII art. So they will draw with characters. Those documents are not meant for us, even though I think it's always good to just have a look and see how they look like. It's for curiosity. Those documents are made for people that work for Chrome, Firefox, and they implement those things. They implement the rules of the standards. Okay? But I just want to talk about so you understand the entire mechanism. So I cannot wake up tomorrow and say, oh, let's invent a new protocol.
Yeah.
I need to go through standardization and specification, which is a very long process, and it's monitored by huge experts in the field. So it's very hard that things can go wrong. Okay. Good. So Node can talk HTTP, and obviously it's really good at that. In general, in all the networking capabilities in Node are very, very good. Let's remember that the core of Node comes from a browser, which is a client and is meant to be good it's a network application. So Node inherit all the good things about the V8 engine in Chrome. Therefore, it's really, really good at networking, and has a very strong HTTP core module. What is a core module? So you're gonna hear me sometimes say module and sometimes say core module. So the core modules are the one that built in Node. You don't need to install them; they are already there for you. You need to require them.
Like in JavaScript.
You need to. It's like it's a subtle difference. You need to require them, but you don't need to install them because they're already built in Node.
It's like libraries.
Yes, but already built. So when you install Node, they already come with those things. Yeah, that's what they are core module. You don't need to install. You can use straight away. Obviously, you need to require them in your code. I'm gonna show you this later on. But I want you to understand all the concepts.
Just we need to import that.
Yes, exactly. Just import, no install, no anything. It works straight away. That's why they're called core modules. And you can, if you go here and you see Node API, those are the core modules. So HTTP is a core module, and it's an HTTP agent, and you can create a new one. And those are the different. You see the class and listen, and it'll explain everything. It's really, really long. This is the documentation of Node. Then if you go crypto is another module, and then here it will explain you how it works, and there are examples. This is the node documentation. And you can have, for DNS, you can have HTTP2, HTTPS, so all different flavor of HTTP.
But why? Let me ask you a question. Why make a difference between HTTP and HTTPS if HTTPS is more secure? I mean, in the
There are scenario that HTTPS is just an extension of HTTP, so you still need HTTP.
But HTTPS is more secure to make an incognito communication, you know, and
so the S stands for secure, and usually that secure is over an SSL, which is long story, but it's a way to basically encrypt your data. So when you send something, it's not sent in plain text over the network, but it's sent in an encrypted way. We are not talking about SSL this time, so I wanted you know that HTTPS exists, and it's the right way of do it, because you need to have a secure communication over HTTP. But I don't. It's not a secure course, this, so I don't care. I want to talk about HTTP. I want to talk about the protocol. I want to show you how you build an HTTP server in Node. That's my goal. Because if I start to talk about security, we need 5 more weeks. Okay. But I just want to show you that there are a lot of, Node core modules. And you can scroll them here, and you can check them out. Good. So, now that I give you a good intro about network, was client server. So client server communication. We're gonna go for client server communication. You need to remember those 2 things. Very, very actually classic questions interview. The client initializes the communication. The server cannot reach you. The server can answer to you. You obviously say, if the server sends this to you, and you will say, no, the server can't send anything to me. The server can answer to me. You're gonna send a request. You're gonna receive a response. You as a client. Okay. So remember that is who is initialized the conversation in HTTP in HTTP scenario is the client. But if they ask you, this is the second question though. What about I wanna send something without the browser sending something? Then you're gonna say, okay, I can use other protocols like WebSockets. WebSockets that allow you to have a constantly open communication to stream back and forward information without the client initialize anything. So if you see those, let's say, chat messages, let's say Messenger in Facebook, they use WebSockets. So they can, in real time, you don't need to refresh the page or send something. The message can come back to you without you do anything. Very, very classical question about for backend people. Okay. Cool. Let's code a little bit. Then I'm gonna add you a few other things on the go. So if you go on my slides, you can actually copy this.
We are in week 4, yes? No,
We're actually week 3.
week 3.
On the slides, we are running 1 week late.
have you sent the slide?
The slides are I put it like a couple of times in the Slack channel, but I can put them again. I think maybe I can even do this. Yeah, it's the same. I think it's the same link. Yeah.
Or if you pin them on Slack.
Okay, yeah.
We can have it as an item.
Are you do that? Pin. Cool. Good. We'll allow. Let's put like this. Okay. So this is how you should do it before you. So if you copy that, and in the project here, you see I'm gonna forget about the contact list for a second. I'm gonna keep it there, and I'm just gonna do this, just index. I'm gonna create a file, call it index HTML. And let's try HTML. And then if you do this, you go H2, let's actually H1. Then you can write a tiny HTML page. Let's say this is my HTML page. So if you want to autocomplete this, just write HTML, and then if you go down, you see this Emmet abbreviation here. If you enter, it will create this for you automatically.
We don't all have this.
Yes. Otherwise, you just write. You can also just write this. It doesn't matter. It will. Chrome will fix it for you.
So we have to copy it on index.js.
Yeah. So you create a new file, call it the. So you all have this source, this blah blah, right? Okay, cool. So now you leave the contact list there. It's fine, no problem. Create a new file called index.html, and you write some HTML in there.
Okay.
I'm here. You see?
Yeah.
Can you all see from the back?
So we create a HTML
So we
page.
create an index.html page in the source, obviously.
Okay, we did.
And what about the index.js? What we should write?
Index.js. Just what was in here.
Okay. And should we refer in the HTML the index.js?
No.
We shouldn't.
No.
Okay.
You're in front end mode. This is a back end mode. We're gonna serve a page.
So okay.
We're gonna serve a page.
So this index.js going to be a
Yes.
server, yes?
Yes. I think the only small stuff that we need to do is I think we need this. Let me double check this in a second. Oh. I think it's that.
Did you copy? How did you copy this? Just copy it. But it didn't work on there.
Yeah.
Control C.
Okay.
It works.
Just a tiny thing. You need to add this this one in front of the indexed HTML. I'm gonna explain you why.
Index. Okay.
So that dir name is basically the current path where that file is in. So basically this dir name in my case will be this. and actually will be the full path. So because this read file sync needs the full path of the file, not a relative path. So you cannot use a relative path.
Is that underscore that it meant? Is it just underscore?
Yeah, it's double underscore, and this is available in Node all over. There are like a couple of ways to solve this problem. I'm gonna show this. This is kind of the most simple one. Then you can also use path.resolve. You can import another module and do another thing. But I'm gonna show I'm gonna show that later. And you also need to copy the index.html in the dist folder. So you see, I'm copying manually this index.html in this folder. This is a kind of a hack for the moment because my rollup configuration doesn't copy over the index.html files, but it just compiles the JavaScript ones. But we need to serve an index.html file. This therefore needs to be in the dist folder. Maybe even a better way. Even a better way would be to actually have a public folder. Maybe have it here.
Give me an error here. I don't know. How you add the HTML on the disk? I mean, you
just copy in there.
I just copy it.
Yeah.
So when I do start, it doesn't give me any error, yeah?
Yes. So it doesn't give you any error. Then if you go on localhost 9615 like this.
Oh yeah.
I cannot zoom.
Apache traded up 4.19% last Friday at $28 US.
Sorry. Okay, so if you go on the localhost 9615, you should be able to see your page. Now, if you go back to this and you change the page, so look at this. I'm gonna write Marco here, right? This is test Marco, right? This is a unique page. I refresh here. Save the one. Restart my server, and I restart this again. Mark, okay? Now we are all connected to the same Wi-Fi, right? So I actually have.
Just a second, it doesn't work for me.
You need to stop and start the server. You need to. Are you not running the server?
Sorry, I cannot understand what you mean.
You need to run this. Do npm start.
I run it.
No, you are running on the file. So.
But did you delete the?
So you need to do npm start here.
But did you delete the index.js file?
I have done it.
That's a new one.
Yeah, this is a new index.js file. Yeah.
What is it? That's empty.
No. This file, index.js. This is here.
Yeah, that.
Okay, guys, I recap. It's actually simple. I think you're overthinking now. In a source file, there is an index.js file, and this is copy and paste from the slides.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to do much. The only things I forgot is this dir name. You need to have double underscore dir name here. I missed that in the slides, okay? Because the slides were actually created before using bubble. That's why. In fact, you can see I'm still using require. You see that? I'm still using require. So we're gonna fix that too. Now, in the dist folder here, you need to create an index.html file. In the dist folder.
Just a second.
It's just because the.
It's only those two things you need to do.
Yeah, but it threw me an error on the fs.js. fs.js. They require that you asking the fs. When I do npm start, they give me another.
Okay, this.
Did you transform to?
Okay, probably I got it. Hold on 1 second, let me see.
You can also do this.
Still gave me another.
Try to do this.
One second, let me see.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't save me the slash. Is see that I'm doing the name slash and I save it. Okay, and then
Well, which file is? Where is that file?
index.html.
In.
Index.html.
No, I think you are changing this. You are changing the dist file.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me see.
Okay, guys, classic mistake. You need to watch out for this. You need to change the file in the source. The JS file, you need to change those ones.
Okay, yeah.
This is auto-generated,
Okay. Yeah, fine.
but this is the one you need to work on. You remember this part? You need to work in the source. This is auto-generated by the tool.
You know, I made a mistake. I copied this index.js here and
No. Here you don't need to touch nothing. The JavaScript file.
I made it. I made a mistake. So
Okay.
how should I bring it back?
You need to do npm start again,
Okay.
and it will override the one you in. So you are missing a slash there. So this one,
No. This one was
yeah,
the exact.
but you're missing this one, yeah.
Okay, just
Oh,
a
you have to
second.
install it.
You see the error is it's actually telling you that it's trying to open this index HTML, and if you just had a slash there, then it would be
Try
fine.
again.
Slash scaffolder, yeah. E. Space.
Okay, it's not throwing any error, so the server is running now.
Scaffolder.
Okay.
So now that page is served by the node.
Okay.
So if you change it, you need to stop and start the server. Okay, good.
No. Okay.
No, but you have
You need to stop and start the server.
How should it stop?
And start. So
Again here.
yeah, stop. No. Stop the server. Control C and do start again.
Oh, when you are changing the server, it doesn't work.
No, you need to stop the server and restart it.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So guys, when you change something in the server, you need to stop it and rerun it, because you are changing the file and your service is running, so you cannot change the file when it's running. So you need to stop it and rerun it with the new files. Okay. One way you could do is to transform those required to import. There were two requires here. You can use import to use the new syntax. In the slides, if you go back to the slides, I was using require here because those slides are old, right? But this is actually the real code now.
So we can change it to this code now.
Yes, I'm gonna
share it in the Slack.
I'm gonna put it over here. So this is a new code with an import, and I'll put it in Slack as well. Okay. So this now as the as the import, okay? So let's go through the code and see what is going on. Is everybody on board with this?
No, because she doesn't have the last file.
Okay. Okay, if you don't have node scaffolder, you need to install it. And you do npm I node scaffolder.
Or scaffolder alone or node scaffolder?
Node, so you need, npm I space node minus scaffolder in one go. If you don't know the package, you can try to go on npm
Then on npm start.
npm.com and then you can find the scaffolder there. But you already installed it from last time, did you?
No.
So did you install?
Okay. So if some of you has a problem with the node scaffolder, you can go on npmjs.com and if you search for node scaffolder,
It's not there.
Look what it is.
node scaffolder, then you can just copy this line, right? And you copy it by just clicking. If you click, you see, copy to clipboard. And remember to add -G so it's global. You need to install globally. Remember that's a tool.
/G?
-G.
Yeah.
And if you're on Mac and you install globally, you need sudo in front. Because it's a super operation.
I mean, he's asked for permission or something. Could you come see? You practical with the MacBook?
Yes. So if you look at here, it says access because your permissions is denied in this user local folder. This is because you need super permission.
Administration.
So ask for super permission before anything you write sudo. This is like a generic sudo, and then the command that you want to run. When you run with sudo, it was gonna ask you for the password, and then when you put the password, it's gonna run your command.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
I'm just observing here.
Okay. Then good observation. Okay, cool.
Excuse me, but when I come out of the server, the website doesn't load.
That's good. Imagine the opposite.
Okay.
The server is down and your page is not.
No, but you said you have to close it that the website is working.
If you stop the server,
Yeah.
then you're gonna have more. The page you cannot see the page any longer because your web server is stopped.
Okay.
That's
Yes, you are right.
After the npm start, it just.
Yes.
You see what you are doing? You are doing
You're on wrong folder. But where is the package?
Oh,
JSON?
yes.
Is it,
Yeah, but you are in the.
Okay. Yeah. The file that you.
I'm trying to open the package of JSON.
They are not in this folder. So.
Yeah, there's no start there.
You want to press start.
The script start. Why you have this?
Okay.
Probably
We
change.
need to create
And
file
write-
inside that
add a new
folder.
line like test and write start instead. Yeah, put a comma there.
We create a folder
Yeah.
called search.
And then write node
Doesn't it go?
space
Doesn't it
this.
come with an installation?
No.
Because I
Node
didn't-
space
I didn't
this.
have the option
No, this. The list folder.
to the JavaScript.
And this. Well, you don't have the list folder here.
I didn't get the-
Okay, so you don't have the project.
Yeah, but what you have to.
You didn't create inside the. Okay.
You just write in a small name.
Okay, guys, I see a lot of confusion here. I need to restart with the project. Some of you are a bit ahead and some of you is a bit behind. I need to clean up your mind, but I really need that you follow, please, follow what I'm doing now, because I'm gonna answer your questions. So first of all, you need to have Node installed, right? Let's start with that. And you can check both version of Node and npm by doing this. If your Node above 8 or above 8, is good. Now, you need to install Node scaffolder. You need the -G because it's global. And you need sudo if you're on Mac, because if you're installing something globally, you need to have permission to install it globally. And for ask permission, you need to run the operation as a super user. Okay, this is only for Mac, yeah? The sudo is only for Mac. So if you run this, you see it's gonna ask me for the password. But guys, I wanted you to look at my screen, because I don't want to repeat. This is the third time I do this. Then I put my password and I hit enter, and then I install the Node scaffolder tool. You're okay with this, right? Any doubts about this?
What was the password?
The password is my password. The password of my computer.
Okay, good.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, so this is I put my password here. This is because of sudo, yeah?
Yeah.
Because of sudo, I need to give permission, and then I need to put my password in. Guys, are you okay with those steps? 100%, everybody? Are you 100% sure about this? Okay, so when you install, you need npm not node, either I or install, and then you need -G if it's a global package. If you omit -G, it's gonna be added to the dependencies on the package.json. You remember that part? Cool. Now that I've installed this globally, I create a folder in my dev folder, and I create a folder with make dir. You saw my video on YouTube, right? Good. So make dir is make directory. I know you saw it. Make dir, and then you create a new project, okay? New server. And this is a folder, okay? So now I can change directory in my folder that I just created, and this folder is empty. ls or dir on Mac, on Windows. If you're on Windows, you can use dir command. Okay, so this folder is empty. Now I can do npm init. You remember this part?
Yeah.
What does npm init do?
Initialize the new.
Good. So if you want to ask, if you want to answer to the question, you can answer the question, and then you say yes. Now, if I check again, in the folder there is a package.json file, and if I visualize this package.json file with this command cat that is in my video that you didn't see, you will see that you can see the content of the file. And this is the content that reflect the questions that I had in that steps npm init. Yeah? Good. Now that you have this and you have no scaffolder installed, you can run this. So Node scaffolder is going to ask you, okay, welcome to Node scaffolder. Language, JavaScript. Bundler, rollup, linter, none. Now it says done. You are all set. Try to run npm install. Yes, please. And right after npm start. So I do npm install, like suggest me, and then I do npm start. It works. You're good. This is set up your project with the rollup. Okay. Now in my folder, you see there is a lot of stuff. There's a README file, node modules, package.json, source folder, this file that is not for you, and the rollup configuration that's all automatically generated by the tool. Now you can start to work. So now you can open code inside or the editor that you use inside your folder, yeah? And you can start to copy the server that I gave it to you. So if you go to my slides, you go here, you copy that. Here, and I'm gonna create an index.html file. You can use this shortcut for generate some code, or whatever you want to do. And then I'm gonna write this is my test file Marco, okay? And then I save it. Let me close this one. I create a new integrated terminal with this command, and then I can run npm start. If I run npm start and I don't get any error, I'm good to go. Means my server is spinning. If I go here and I do localhost 9615, this is my test file Marco. We are good. So we now an HTTP service running.
Okay.
I'm expecting that you are able to do this on your own. At this stage, I'm expecting that you, when I ask you to start a project, you are able to check your npm version, check your node, install what you need to do, and play with your terminal correctly, create folders and blah, blah, blah. I'm expecting that you do that. If you can't do that, you need to work on your own to make it happen, because that's kind of the basics to start a project, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can start to code, right? This is an example that I stole from my website. And yeah, I did some upgrades. I'm using import, and I had to fix this one because I'm working two different folders. But let me explain what's happening here. So what I'm doing here, those two lines. Questions for you.
That HTTP is the module core of
Yes, core module.
Sorry, core module of
Yes, node.
nodes.
Yes. So I'm importing two core modules.
Okay.
Also FS. Also FS is a core module.
Both of them, yeah.
HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol,
Yeah.
and FS stands for File System.
Okay.
So the file system allows me to read, write, and modify files. In fact, I'm using this read file sync to read this file, index.html.
What allowed you to do FS, the file system?
FS is a core module, and it's a core module that you can find it on the documentation. So if you go node docs file system, you can see there is this file system, and if you look, there is a read file sync here, and this is what I'm using. It's a method on that core module. Think like a library. It's a library, but instead of install it, you can just require it. So and this one is gonna contain the content of that file. So this one is gonna contain
The HTML.
all this as a text. Okay. Now I'm using the HTTP core module. I'm gonna create a server. There's a method called create server. Maybe it's easy to read like that. And then it takes a callback.
A promise.
No, that's actually a callback. So it's a callback, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a function,
It looks like promise.
a function and an argument. And it has a request and response. You see, rec and res. You're gonna see this over and over. So when you create the server, write head 200 content type text HTML. We're gonna see what is this, and then terminate the request, sending the HTML that we read from here. And then after you create the server, basically this create and says also listen on this port. So listen, it will listen at this port. Remember that you need to use port above
3000.
no, I think it's above 1000 and something, because the below 1000 are reserved for the operative system to run its own thing. If I do 80 here, it won't work. It will say this port is busy, because the operative system, both Windows and Mac or whatever, they are reserved those ports for their use. but you can use ports above. Sometimes you see 3000, 4200, and blah blah blah. Okay. So this is how you create a server. Very very simple server. They will, when you hit it, localhost.
But someone else can reach to this page from other network.
That's exactly what I want to say. You just stole my next line. So now that I'm running my server on my machine, you can actually reach my server over the network if you know my IP.
Okay.
In my network. So this is a Wi-Fi network.
Yes.
I have an IP on this network.
Yes, client.
You can reach me, right?
Yeah.
So you can, if you do config, you can actually see my IP somewhere here. Or you can also.
You can write on the Chrome my IP.
Well, I knew you did that error. I'm gonna explain it again. You have two IP.
Yeah.
One is a public IP over the internet.
Yeah.
And one is an IP that your router here gave it to you.
Yes.
It's local.
It's local, yes. It's an IP that it works inside the Wi-Fi network only.
Yeah.
So I can reach you, but my dad in Italy can't reach you because that IP works only inside the Wi-Fi network, okay?
Yeah.
If you want to expose your IP over the internet, you need to do something else. You need to run a proper server that has a public IP.
Yes.
You don't have a public IP. You have an IP that is inside, that works inside this network.
Yes, sure.
But if I know that IP, or if you know my IP, where is it?
It goes up. No, that is.
No, it should be somewhere.
Is this 192?
Yes.
100. Yeah.
So if you type this in your browser, so if I do this and then I say 19615, it's gonna serve my file. If you guys type this, you're gonna see my file. If you are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. No, just type this.
I typed.
You are doing it in Google. There, I see the G.
No, here I'm writing.
Yeah, but you're searching it in a Google bar. There's like the G next to.
Yes, new one. Just let. This is the new
Yeah.
one. Yeah. 192, 168,
Everybody are testing.
194. Is it right?
Crashing here.
Yeah, and do the column. No, that was correct.
Not on Google.
Yeah. No. Look at this. Yeah, column 9615. 9615.
No.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
double down.
So you see, you are accessing my server now.
Before the port,
So
have
if
to
you
double
stop
down.
the npm start,
Yes.
it will gone.
If you refresh, it will be gone. So look, if I go on my server here and I stop this, and you try to refresh, you cannot reach me anymore.
Okay.
So if you try to reach me now, the server is down. So my computer was working as a server.
Okay. So if you cannot turn it off or.
Yes.
Okay.
I can tell you a funny story about this. You know who is Elon Musk, the Tesla guy.
Okay.
The guy that runs Tesla company, right? You know Elon Musk. Before Tesla, he was running PayPal.
Yeah.
You know that, right? He was when he was after his studies was running PayPal, and he was the creator together with the other guys. So they couldn't afford. They didn't have much money at that time. So they only had one computer. Was both the server and the working machine. So they were working at night. The shift was from 1 o'clock at night, 1 a.m. till 7 a.m. in the morning. Because during the day, the same machine was the server. and then at 7 they will run the at 7 a.m. they will run the server and they will leave
Yeah.
and go to university or sleep or whatever, and then at night they will work on it.
Yeah.
But when the people were asleep, they will put down the server like I did now and work and improve it and run it again the day after.
Okay.
So your computer can be a server. Obviously, it's not convenient. Sometimes it's better that your computer stays your computer, and then you can rent a server and run your code somewhere else.
Actually, when
Like
we-
in a service,
Okay,
right?
actually, when we are buying IP and host from other
Yes.
servers, it looks like we have a computer there.
No.
Always.
The reality that you don't have a computer, there is a program running on a very large machine, but you don't have an entire computer.
Yeah.
You have your program is running together with other computers there, but it's a very complicated topic that too,
Yeah.
because there's a virtual machine and real machines, and I don't want to confuse you there, but your computer was a server. So if you give me your IP, I can access your stuff, right?
Yeah, but we cannot do you.
Because I turn it off. Now I turn it on again, and you will be able to access it again.
But we have to have a port as well. It's not just the only IP.
Yes, you
Because
need.
if he has a
If you
for
don't have-
example, printer and I want to access to that printer has a special port as well.
Yes. So let's talk about that. So when you type www.google.com,
You are writing IP.
you in reality you are writing a name, right? You are writing letters.
Yeah.
That request goes to something called DNS.
Yeah.
The domain name service. It will translate that www.google.com in an IP address or a set of IP address, and then your request will go and reach that IP.
Yes.
That is, I think it's 8888 or something like that, something crazy, some Google IP, public IP that everybody can reach. That's a public IP, yeah? Now, when you don't specify anything in the browser, the default port is 80.
Yes.
So it's like you write, when you type google.com, basically it's like you write 8.8.8.8 column 80. Okay,
Yeah.
there is a translation mechanism called DNS that is doing that for you.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We don't have a DNS running, so we need to write IPs. Okay. Okay, good. I'm actually happy now. So let's see what's the request look like, yeah? Oh, I want to talk about this. I didn't talk about this line. So the response, so that right head, when you see an HTTP message, it's made by two parts, a header and a body. So the HTTP message is made by two bits, the header and the body. And the header, there are some header lines. And one of the header lines is, let's say, status. One of the header lines is a content type. And those are information that the client needs to know for understand what's in the body. Because what did we say before? Before we said it's hypermedia, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
That means that I can send many things, different things. Audio, images, text, right? So we need to inform the browser what we are sending. So content type.
But doesn't
I'm
the browser-
sending I'm sending text, HTML. So I'm helping the browser that is receiving this. The server is receiving, so the client does a request and the service is responding with this. And it will say content type text HTML and then it will send the HTML itself. If I don't write this, I can skip it. Actually, I can skip it, but the browser will guess.
But doesn't understand that the extension is HTML.
No, it doesn't know anything about it. It doesn't know the HTML. It's not reading the HTML. It will try to guess what there is in there, but this is very good to add because avoids confusion. If I'm sending a JSON, for example, I need to write text, actually application JSON. That's actually the correct name. So I need to inform the browser, look, what is in the body is an HTML, what is in the body is a JSON, and blah, 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 blah.
Your battery is
Yes, and the 200 here, what's that 200 for?
Confirmation.
Yeah, you're really close.
Status, okay.
Yes, it's a status.
Accept.
It's a status.
Status.
So the 200 means okay. It's HTTP status code because HTTP it's
repeat again, I couldn't understand.
it's a message, right? So when you send something, and when you send something to the server and the server replies you back, it will tell you if there are problems or not. And if there are no problems, it's 200. If there are problems, they can be different kind of problems. Could be 404, for example, and all the 400 ones are based by an application. The 400 are based on, let's say, you are missing a file, 404, right? You cannot reach a file. But the application is still moving on. The 400 codes, status code, the application won't stop. It will still move forward. The 500,
Gateway.
yeah, 500 is a showstopper. 500 means something is broken, and you cannot move forward. So that's kind of like difference between 400 and 500 error codes.
And which one there was no communication?
There are many. I'm gonna tell you to have a look at this.
Please explain a little bit more. I couldn't understand.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you actually. I'm gonna show you how it really works. So this is running. I'm gonna switch to my browser, Chrome, and I'm using the network tab. And you can do this experiment with me. So I'm gonna zoom this so you can see. So I'm gonna refresh the page. So I'm gonna refresh the page, and I have this. So you see, this is the header. This is what is coming back. And the preview is this. So it's my HTML. And this is what I get. Content type, text HTML. You see, this is the header of the response. And the response comes from the server. Because the client make a request.
Yes.
And the server responds. So if you can go on network and remember to click this all so you can see all the requests. Try to refresh the page, you're gonna see something similar to this. This is the request headers. Watch out, guys. Response headers. Who's the response headers? Who's sending the response headers?
The browser.
Who's sending the response headers? Who makes the request?
Oh, the
client makes the
client.
request and the server makes the
response.
perfect. So I'm requesting this. I'm saying, oh, okay, contact this host. I accept those languages. So I accept English with Q is like how much I prefer. So it's preferring English the most, then Italian as a second option, then Danish as a third option, and then this is still Italian, Deutsch, and then I don't even know what is this. So this is the accept languages. This is accept encoding, and this is accept file, and this HTML application XHTML. This is the request. This is your browser. When your browser makes a request, it sends all this information to the server. And this is the response. The response is what my server is responding to that request. And it says keep alive the request, the connection, content type is text HTML, and encoding is chunked. Okay, now let's say I want to send a JSON file. So I create a new JSON file. Was name phone and that's it, right? Do you use something else? No, just the name phone. Okay, so I create this file called my.json, and does this looks familiar to you?
An object.
Yeah, and this is a JSON that contains the same kind of information that we use in the contact list. So now I think you see where I'm going. So now if I go here and I read the JSON, instead of the indexed HTML, I read the JSON file. So let's call my.json.json. So remember that is here content type is application JSON. So here you need to change application JSON. Let's call this my JSON.
Just a second.
So you see content type, and now I need to change it from text HTML to application JSON, because now I'm not sending HTML anymore, I'm sending a JSON.
Okay.
Now if I refresh, I get a JSON back. If you go again in the network tab and you go into the request, you're gonna see that now the response, this is what you wrote in the server, is application JSON. So now you correctly inform the server that what is coming is an application JSON.
Okay.
So now,
So we can put our information in a JSON file in a server and we can reach it.
yes. So now we are gonna merge the two things, right? Now I'll show you how we can actually serve stuff over the network with an HTTP server. Correct? Now I have a contact list. How I can put together those two pieces together. Now I'm interested to do this, right? What about I have something like 2, and then it will give me back the third element of the array of my contact list. Or if I don't give nothing, it can give me back all my contact list.
Similar to ID, like in array, you have index.
Yeah, so this could be an index, right? I can do like an index here. Let's say index 23, and it's gonna give me the 24th. right? Because it's from 0 element of the array. The array is my contact list. So what I'm doing here is an API. Why is an API? And it's actually a REST API. And to be precise, it's a JSON REST API. So JSON, of course, because we are sending JSON. API is because now I'm not sending anything. I'm not sending HTML. I'm just sending data, right? So those API, what is the advantage of the API? Then I can serve different clients. In the modern era, we don't just have browsers. We have also application, iPhone application, Android application. Those applications that can use the same API. So I'm moving the rendering from the server down to the client. That's why we talk about single page application and so on and so forth. We have a server that is just data. You can consume those data in any client you want. Could be your iPhone application, could be your smartwatch, could be your browser, could be anywhere. And you do the rendering part. You generate the HTML or whatever in your client. You see how we kind of how we can actually move in the future, right? In the past, we were generating everything in the server, and then we will send everything, so HTML and data, from the server. Now we are just sending data and rendering the data in the client. This is like this is good because now you can share this API with many. You can use this API with different clients because it's just data, right? You don't have anything visuals with it.
Same as, for example, Instagram, it will make an API and we can make a different kind of application, app. And we're using that API, yes?
So Instagram is a really good example, right?
Yeah.
So when you go on Instagram and you go to, let's say, a profile, let's say this one. I don't want to go to stories.
Yeah.
So this is a profile. This is together data and visuals. If you see this is going to be HTML and data together. What are the data? The images, the text, everything. This is the data. All the graphic part, the layout, all the HTML, that's the HTML. That's the structure. But did you know that if I actually add something here that I now don't remember, I'm going to find it, I can just get the API. And that's that part. So if I add this, I'm going to switch in the API mode, Instagram. And those are actually the data, just the data without any representation. So that's how actually Instagram is working. So you can see this is the text of my friend, or this is a media caption, and you can take this JSON, put it in a new here, put it here, say that this is a JSON, and then you can format a document so you can see better.
Okay.
And then you can see the data. You can see the full name, you can see his ID, and you can see those are friends and stuff, and where is this URL. So those are just data. Those data can be consumed by the Instagram app on your iPhone.
Can you find the password here? Because
of course not. This is just the data, right? So this is the same data you were seeing here. So the same data you were seeing here.
Okay.
In a text, in a different way, but they're actually the same stuff. But here they are together, data and visuals and layout. They are merged together.
Yeah.
the API, is it like the general Instagram API?
Yeah, API stands for application
Program interface.
program interface. So it will just give you the layer of data without the visuals. So you can use it in different scenarios. Because now I can, with that API, I can write, let's say, a bot that will download the best images with the most followers. So I can write a node application that will go to that URL, and I will take the JSON, obviously, and then I can look the JSON, loop through the EC images, and the one with the most likes, I'm gonna save them automatically. For example, right? So that's the good of JSON. Now you understand the powerful of the API, right? Yeah. So other people and other software can interact better with those. Yeah. Okay, good. And that's what we're gonna build. We're gonna build just the API, and then we're gonna in the next course, not with me, with other guys, you're gonna learn about React. And then you can you can use the server that we create here that will generate your JSON. Then you can get the JSON, and together with the React, you can lay out the page on the go in the browser. So you just get the data, and then you lay down the data in React, and it will look like a web page. Good. Okay, I'm happy that you're happy. Okay, so let's have a break now. Questions about this? Is this too hard or too weird or something?
It was weird, but it
starts to make sense now, right?
Yes. We have to go this way to understand everything.
Yeah.
It's no choice.
Yeah. I think things like I mean, I wanted you understand why we are doing the API instead of just a regular HTTP with just a HTML.
Yeah, I can listen.
Okay.